The Buccaneers gave away a golden opportunity, losing 23-13 to the New Orleans Saints. They were down 20-0 at one point in this game. And this was one of those classic Tampa Bay Buccaneer games when the Bucs just beat the Bucs, as Todd Bowles likes to put it in his post-game press conferences. They had 4 turnovers in this game. And when they weren't turning the football over, this offense was going backwards, bro. They had so many 3-and-outs and so many punts in this game. And if you watch Tampa Bay for the majority of this season, this offense has games when they just can't get anything going at all. They just look lethargic. Now, they woke up in the fourth quarter, but even when they came alive in the fourth quarter, they still gave away the game because you had a back-breaking turnover. You had a fumble by a wide receiver. I'm trying to remember his name. I think it was Trey Palmer, if I'm not mistaken. He made a great grab, and then he put the ball on the ground. And that fumble right there is what sealed the win for New Orleans. And this is an embarrassing loss for Tampa Bay because you lost to Dennis Allen, one of the worst head coaches in the NFL. Because of this win, the New Orleans Saints now are expected to bring him back for another season. And New Orleans fans, I'm pretty sure they're grateful for the win and they're grateful for the opportunity to still have a chance of making it to the playoffs by winning this division thanks to you. But I know they're still not happy of the aspects of Dennis Allen returning for another year because they know this dude is not a good head coach. And they know when this division gets better head coaches that they're not going to be a great football team. So not only did you do yourself a disservice, but you did Saints fans a disservice. I mean, yeah, they got the win. They can make it to the playoffs. But let's be honest, they're not going to go far in the postseason. And neither are the Buccaneers, if we're being honest, unless this offense can get back at playing at the level that it was when they had that, 4 or 5 game win streak prior to this L? Baker Mayfield, this is the worst game that he's had over the last couple of months. He was playing some damn good football, taking care of the football, didn't really have too many turnover problems. And even the offensive line, when it comes to a pass protection standpoint, they've been one of the best pass blocking units in the National Football League this year. But in this game, the Saints pass rush was really getting after it. And like usual, they couldn't run the damn football. And even when they did have a good run out of Rachaad White, guess what he did? He turned the damn football over. The defense, they got carved up by Derek Carr. But it wasn't on a consistent basis. Like, there was that first drive of the game when Derek Carr and the Saints scored on their opening possession, which he looked really effective. Then he had another drive before halftime. And then after that, in the second half, the defense played pretty well. And they held them to just a field goal. When you look at what they did when the offense turned the football over, they only allowed 3 points off turnovers. The defense kept this game close. And it gave the offense an opportunity to win it, despite the fact that Derek Carr had a really good performance in this game. But offensively, I like Dave Canales, but this offense at times, when they're out of sorts, it looks really ugly. And there's been tons of games when Tampa Bay hasn't gotten anything going offensively until the last quarter of the game. And if you want to be a team that could possibly pull off an upset in the first round of playoffs, your offense just can't only show up for the final 15 minutes. Your offense has to be able to play a complete game. And that's something that Tampa Bay, when they struggled offensively, they haven't been able to do. This offense is really good when they're playing at a high level, and they got the talent where they should be dominating in every game. You got good wide receivers. You got Mike Evans, who should be an all-pro this year. Chris Godwin. Rachaad White is a Pro Bowler, in my opinion, based on what he's meant to this offense from a all-around standpoint, what he can do in the passing game, still making something out of nothing with a bad offensive line when it comes to run blocking. But there are moments when Tampa's offense, they can just look flat. They can look streaky. This is probably the most streakiest offense in the NFL. When they're on, they're on. When they're bad, they're going backwards. Like, they were going backwards against New Orleans in the first half. So, New Orleans, with this win, not only do they have a chance of making it to the playoffs and Dennis Allen coming back for another season, but they could win this division. Tampa Bay, with the win, they could have locked up their playoff spot and won this division for a second straight year in a row. Now you got to have some things happen next week for you to win this division. When you could have just already had this thing won if you would have came up and showed up for this game. It didn't look like Tampa Bay was all that well prepared with the way that they looked at the start of this game. On both sides of the football. Opening drive, New Orleans gets a touchdown. And then the offense can't get anything going. Like, when are the Buccaneers going to be able to just look like a competent team on a consistent basis? Like, that win streak was good, but are you going to be able to do this against good teams? That's my problem with Tampa Bay. Like, we don't see Tampa Bay play their best football when they're going up against a sub 500 team. This is the Saints' second win against a team with a winning record or a record that is 500 or better. Tampa Bay, I expected them to win this game. Like, they were a 2-point favorite, and I thought it was going to be easy money. But it just goes to show you that when it comes to the coaching of Todd Bowles, you can't really trust this team on a weekly basis. Their best win, when they clobbered Jacksonville last week, Jacksonville hasn't been that great. And outside of that, they are a team that has struggled to be able to beat teams with winning records. Like, the only win that they have with the team that is, in the playoff hunt right now is really the Minnesota Vikings, and they did that early in the season. And the Chicago Bears, that also came early in the season. Neither one of those teams have winning records right now. And that's the same problem that New Orleans have. In this game, you saw two bad coaches on full display. It's just that Dennis Allen, with how well the offense looked and how fast of a start they got out too early, being able to capitalize off the 4 turnovers of Tampa Bay was a large reason why they won this game. But if you're a good team, you turn the ball over 4 times, most of the times it's a blowout. And Tampa Bay still had the opportunity to come away with the victory. It's just that they had that late fumble by that wide receiver out in Nebraska, Trey Palmer, and that's what put the dagger in their hopes of being able to lock up this division. So hopefully they can be able to make it to the playoffs and win this division next week when they play the Panthers. But this was a really disappointing game if you are a fan of the Buccaneers.